Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff. It's in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, July the 15th, 2018. The time is 4:18 a.m. First, say thank you to all my fans and my supporters for your continued encouragement and support. I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education at Monroe College Online. I'm pursuing my social degree studying business administration, concentration mark. At this present time, I've taken a break from going to school, but in the very near future, I will be going back to Monroe College Online to continue to further my education, pursuing my social degree in business administration with a concentration mark. What I'm doing right now, I'm doing my Instagram. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff. Is in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, July the 15th, 2018. Time is 4:20 a.m. First, say thanks to all my fans and my support for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang. Now these are just a few of the websites you can go to that make free logo design to make anti-gang logos. First, we want to always give thanks to God for all the blessings and guidance that He provides us all with. Now, excuse me, I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to complain about people saying they are gang plus stir, mob plus stir, saying they are boss, they are goon, they are hooligan, they are thug, they are crook, they are Mac, they're a player. You understand? They're all this negative stuff. All that negative stuff. When I be on my job, when I be at work, when I be in my place of employment, people be saying things like that. I don't care nothing about what the sorority say. I don't care nothing about no fraternity. I'm gonna stand up for my human rights. So, sorority, fraternity, it's a guarantee it will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. But first of all, I'm going to stand up for my human rights. Now this is the International Bill of Human Rights, was a name given to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 217 and two international treaties established by the United Nations. It consists of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, with its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966. This is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It is an international treaty adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly, described as an International Bill of Rights for Women. It was instituted on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states. This is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child. Is an international document promoting child rights, drafted by Eglantine Jebb and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in an extended form by the United Nations in 1959. This day has been adopted as the Universal Children's Day. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is a human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health, and cultural rights of children. The convention defines a child as any human being under the age of 18 unless the age of majority is attained earlier under national legislation. This is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. And this is the International Federation for Human Rights. 1922 is founded by some 20 national organizations. On the initiative of French and German member organizations, it is the first international human rights organization. Its motto is Peace for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. This is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. This is the world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and the World Wildlife Fund. Like I said earlier, it will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. People saying they're gang plus stir, mob plus stir. People saying they're goon, they're boss, they're thug, they're crook, they're hoodlum, they're Mac, they're player, they're pimp, they're whore, and they make up all kind of street slang. It's all street slang. People all over the world use communication. People all over the world use language. It's street slang. So, sorority, fraternity, it will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. That's a guarantee. And again, these are just a few of the websites you can go to. They make free logo design, make anti-gang logos. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna do my Periscope video. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. They're right here in the city of Memphis in the county of Shelby in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, July the 15th, 2018. The time 4:35 a.m. First, I thank all my family support for your continued encouragement and support. Anti-gang, anti-gang. These are just a few of the websites you can go to. They make free logo designs, make anti-gang logos. I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to complain. People saying they are gang plus stir, mob plus stir. People saying they are boss, they are goon, they are thug. People saying they are crook, they are hoodlum. People saying they are Mac, they are player. People saying they are pimp and they are whore and all that street slang. It's all street slang. People all over the world use communication. People all over the world use language. Sorority, fraternity. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. That's a guarantee. I'm going to stand up for my human rights. Now, hold on. Now what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and get started. And now we know the man-made religious organizations. We know the man-made religious organizations, such as the Catholic Church and all their churches, and all this Protestant Reformation and all their churches, and the American Restoration Movement and all their churches. And all these groups that we've been talking about, excuse me, that the FBI got a file on, And then we've been trying to go to all nations on the earth, trying to get information on this W.D. Fard Muhammad, the master, the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, all these various black Hebrew Israelites, the Rastafarians, and all the information we can get, including like the Black Panthers, the NAACP Urban League. Information is just what it is, information. Because see, we know that, see, people used to try to go from one group. Sometimes people be talking about they are Baptist. Sometimes people say they are Catholic, and then they'll go somewhere else. 5 years, 1 year later, they'll join they'll join the NAACP Urban League. Then they'll go join the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Then they'll go join. Then they go to college. Then they go join the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Then they'll get out of college. Then they'll go join the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and it'll just go on. And then they'll go join the Nation of Islam. Then they'll lead the Nation of Islam. Then they'll go join the Black Panthers. Then they'll lead the Black Panthers when they broke up. And then they'll go start something. Then they'll go join the Congress of Racial Equality. Then they'll go join the Democratic Party. Then they'll it just go on and on. They'll go all around, and you have to get information, and get as much information you can, because people are out here trying to mislead and misdirect people. You understand? And trying to take advantage of people. People trying to label themselves as God, and trying to call themselves the prophet, and people trying to call themselves, all kind of stuff, man. And don't leave out the American Muslim Society. And so get as much information you can. Now, all these religious, man-made religious organizations, they use Romans chapter 16, verse 16. Salute one another with an holy kiss. The churches, with the suffix "es" of Christ, salute you. And this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4. So that we ourselves glory you in the churches, with the suffix "es," churches of God, for your patience and faith in all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Okay, I'm gonna get the laptop, and we're gonna go to the and we're gonna go online, and we're gonna continue to look up the information that we have available on the Roman Catholic Church, the Protestant Reformation, the American Restoration Movement, and this W.D. Fard Muhammad. And so let's go online. Now, right now, I'm using my laptop. I'm in the process of getting my desktop repaired. But we going to Wikipedia, everybody. So the quick reference. We going to Wikipedia. like I said, we on Wikipedia. We on Wikipedia. Everybody that's watching, we got my YouTube channel going, and we on Periscope. We on Periscope today. Now, okay, so I'm going to start reading. We on Wikipedia. Now, the Roman Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, also known as the Roman Catholic Church, is the largest Christian church with more than 1.299 billion members worldwide. As one of the oldest religious institutions in the world, it has played a prominent role in the history and development of Western civilization. The church is headed by the Bishop of Rome, who is known as the Pope. The church's doctrines are summarized in the Nicene Creed. Its central administration, the Holy See, is in the Vatican City, an enclave within Rome, Italy. The Catholic Church teaches that it is the one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church founded by Jesus Christ, that its bishops are the successors of Christ's apostles, and that the Pope is the successor to St. Peter, to whom primacy was conferred by Jesus Christ. It maintains that it practices the original Christian faith, reserving infallibility passed down by sacred tradition. The Latin Church, the Eastern Catholic churches that institute such as Mendicant orders and enclosed monastic orders reflect a variety of theological and spiritual emphasis in the church. Of its 7 sacraments, the Eucharist is the principal one celebrated liturgically in the Mass. The church teaches that through consecration by a priest, the sacrificial bread and wine become the body and blood of Christ. The Virgin Mary is venerated in the Catholic Church as Mother of God and Queen of Heaven. Honored in dogmas and devotions, its teachings include sanctification through faith and evangelization of the gospel, as well as Catholic social teaching, which emphasizes voluntary support for the sick, the poor, and the afflicted through the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. The Catholic Church is the largest non-governmental provider of education and healthcare in the world. Now, okay. Now, the Catholic Church has influenced Western philosophy, culture, science, and art. The Catholic Church shared communion with the Eastern Orthodox Church until the East-West Schism in 1054, disputing particularly the authority of the Pope, as well as with the Oriental Orthodox churches prior to the Chaldean Schism in 451 over differences in Christology. Catholics live all over the world through missions, diaspora, and conversion since the 20th century. The majority reside in the southern hemisphere due to secularization in Europe and increased persecution in the Middle East. Now, let me scroll down. Okay, now let's go over here. Now we scroll down to where it says the name. It says Catholic from Greek. Literally means universal. Okay, it was first used to describe the church in the early second century. The first known use of the phrase "the Catholic Church" occurred in a letter written about 110 A.D. from Saint Ignatius of Antioch. To the Smyrnanians in a catechetical lecture of Saint Cyril of Jerusalem. The name Catholic Church was used to distinguish it from other groups that also called themselves the Church. The Catholic notion was first stressed in the Edict de Catholica, issue 380, by Theodosius I, the last emperor to rule over both the eastern and western halves of the Roman Empire, when establishing the state church of the Roman Empire. Now let me scroll over here. Now you have particular churches. You have the Latin Rite, the Latin church. Then you have your Alexandrian Rite. That's the Coptic, Ethiopian, and Eritrean. Then you have your Armenian Rite. Then you have your Byzantine Rite. It's all the Albanian, Belarusian, Bulgarian, Croatian, and Serbian, Greek, Hungarian, Italo-Albanian, Macedonian, Melkite, Romanian, Russian, Ruthenian, Slavic, and Ukrainian. Then you have your East Syriac Rite, that's the Chaldean and Syro-Malabar. Your West Syriac Rite, Maronite, Syriac, Syro-Malankara. So that's all your Catholic particular church. Now let's go over here to the Protestant Reformation. Now we are on the Protestant Reformation. Protestant Reformation. We're on Wikipedia. We're on Wikipedia, everybody. The quick reference. Now the Reformation, or fully the Protestant Reformation, also known as the European Reformation, was a schism in Western Christianity initiated by Martin Luther and continued by Huldrych, Zwingli, John Calvin, and other Protestant reformers in 16th century Europe. It is usually considered to have started with the publication of the 95 Theses by Martin Luther in 1517 and lasted until the end of the 30 Years' War in 1648. It led to the division of Western Christianity into different confessions: Catholic, Lutheran, Reformed, Anglican, Anabaptist, Unitarian, etc. By the time of its arrival, Western Christianity was only comprised in the lands of the Bohemian Crown, where Utrecht Hussitism was officially acknowledged by both the Pope and the Holy Roman Empire. In addition, various movements, including Lollards in England and Waldensians in Italy and France, were still being actively suppressed. Although there had been early attempts to reform the Catholic Church, such as those of John Huss, Peter Waldo, John Wycliffe, and Girolamo Seminario, Luther is widely acknowledged to have started the Reformation with the 95 Theses. Luther began by criticizing the sale of indulgences, insisting that the Pope had no authority over purgatory and that the Catholic doctrine of the merits of the saints had no foundation in the Bible. The Reformation incorporated doctrinal changes such as complete reliance on Scripture as the only source of proper belief, and the belief that faith in Jesus and not good works is the only way to obtain God's pardon for sin. The core motivation behind these changes was theological, though many other factors played a part, including the rise of nationalism, the Western schism that eroded loyalty to the papacy, the perceived corruption of the Roman Curia, the impact of humanism, and the new learning of the Renaissance that questioned much traditional thought. Now, the initial movement in Germany diversified, and other reformers arose independently of Luther. The groundwork of the Reformation was developed by three major reformers: Luther in Wittenberg, Zwingli in Zurich, and Calvin in Geneva. Depending on country, the Reformation had varying causes, background, and also unfolded differently than in Germany. The spread of Gutenberg's printing press provided the means for the rapid dissemination of religious materials in the vernacular. Lutheran churches were founded in Germany, the Baltics, and Scandinavia, and Reformed ones in Switzerland, Hungary, France, the Netherlands, and Scotland. The movement influenced the Church of England after 1547 under Edward VI and Elizabeth I, although the English Reformation had begun under Henry VIII in 1534. Now, also Reformation movements throughout continental Europe, known as the Radical Reformation, gave rise to various Anabaptist movements. Radical reformers, besides forming communities outside state sanction, often employ much more extreme doctrinal changes, such as the rejection of the tenets of the Council of Nicaea and Chalcedon. Anabaptism suffered a major blow early in the German Peasants' War and was persecuted for centuries after that. The Reformation in Transylvania led to the emergence of Unitarianism. It is historically considered an exceptional event in church history, and the Catholic Church responded with the Counter-Reformation initiated by the Council of Trent in 1545 and a new order, the Jesuits, founded in 1540. Northern Europe, with the exception of most of Ireland, came under the influence of Protestantism. Southern Europe remained Catholic. Central Europe became a site of a fierce conflict that culminated in the 30 Years' War. Now, your major branches of Protestantism major branches of Protestantism, major branches of Adventism, Anabaptism, Anglicanism, Baptist churches. Now, don't forget the Baptist church has a breakaway church, the Church of God in Christ, and the Calvinism, Lutheranism, Methodism, and Pentecostalism. minor branches are Hussitism, Waldensianism, Plymouth Brethren, Holiness Movement, Quakerism, and multiple others. Then you have your interdenominational movements, evangelicalism, charismatic movement, your neo-charismatic movement. Then you have your other developments, Arminianism, Pietism, Puritanism, Neo-Orthodoxy, Paleo-Orthodoxy, Christian fundamentalism, and modernism and liberalism. Then you have related movements, your non-denominational churches, and then you have house churches. So that's the Protestant Reformation. Now let's go over here to the American Restoration Movement. Now we on Wikipedia, everybody. The quick reference: the American Restoration Movement. The Restoration Movement, also known as the American Restoration Movement or the Stone Campbell Movement, and pejoratively as Campbellism, is a Christian movement that began on the United States frontier during the Second Great Awakening, 1790-1840. Of the early 19th century, the pioneers of this movement were seeking to reform the church from within and sought the unification of all Christians in a single-bodied pattern after the Church of the New Testament. Especially since the mid-20th century, members of these churches do not identify as Protestant, but simply as Christian. The Restoration Movement developed from several independent strands of religious revival that idealized early Christianity. Two groups, which independently developed similar approaches to the Christian faith, were particularly important. The first, led by Barton W. Stone, began at Cane Ridge, Kentucky, and identified as Christian. The second began in western Pennsylvania and Virginia, now western Virginia, and was led by Thomas Campbell and his son Alexander Campbell. Both educated and scholarly, they eventually used the name Disciples of Christ. Both groups sought to restore the whole Christian church on the pattern set forth in the New Testament, and both believed that creeds kept Christianity divided. In 1832, they joined a fellowship with a handshake. Excuse me. Among other things, they were united in the belief that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that Christians should celebrate the Lord's Supper on the first day of each week, and that baptism of adult believers by immersion in water is a necessary condition for salvation. Because the founders wanted to abandon all denominational names, they used the biblical names for the followers of Jesus. Both groups promoted a return to the purposes of the first century churches, as described in the New Testament. One historian of the movement has argued that it was primarily a unity movement within the Restoration mode of playing a subordinate role. The Restoration movement has since divided into multiple separate groups. There are three main branches in the U.S.: the Churches of Christ, the unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ congregations, and the Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. Some characterize the division in the movement as a result of the tension between the goals of restoration and ecumenism. The Churches of Christ and unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ congregation resolved the tension by stretching restoration, while Christian church, disciples of Christ, resolve attention by stress ecumenism. A number of groups outside the U.S. also have historical associated with this movement, such as the Evangelical Christian Church in Canada and the Churches of Christ in Australia. Now, now, the thing about it, what we continue to talk about is that we know that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, established His church. We know that Jesus Christ established the church. Let me go to my notes here. We know that Jesus Christ established the church. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. And also you can go to Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. So let's go there. Now, we know that for all the little girls and little boys, we know that the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament, it has the red writing in the Bible. Now, in the Old Testament, the red writing is God talking. In the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and also in the book of Acts. And sometimes you can find the red writing in some of the epistles. And that's Jesus Christ talking. So we're in the book of Matthew, chapter 16. We're going to start reading in verse 30. We're in the New Testament. Book of Matthew, chapter 16. We're going to start reading in verse 13. When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, He asked His disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Now let me turn over here to Matthew chapter what's that, 20? 18. Matthew chapter 18, and we're going to start reading. I'm going to start reading in verse 17. start reading at verse 15. We're in Matthew 18. We'll start reading at 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bound on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Now, so we want to make it clear with everybody that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, established the church. Jesus Christ established the church. All the followers of Jesus Christ, the disciples. Jesus Christ established the church. Now, when Jesus Christ established the church, he called his followers disciples. Jesus Christ called his followers disciples. As we've been going over, Jesus Christ continued over and over and over again, made it perfectly clear to all his followers that he called his followers the disciples. He had plenty of time. He had time. And then he kept gaining all these followers. And to all his followers, he had to repeatedly, over and over and over again, tell all his followers, what do you call your followers? They are my disciples. The disciples. That's what Jesus called his followers, the disciples. Jesus Christ established the church, and his followers, they the church. Now, about this Catholic thing, about this Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church, Catholic Church. Now, it's not just the name, that we're talking about. Because we know that this name was in a letter. About 110 AD, that's 110 after the death of Jesus Christ, from Saint Ignatius of Antioch. This man was apparently considered a Saint Ignatius from Antioch. And he was writing to the Smyrnaeans, and in the catechetical lectures of Saint Cyril of Jerusalem. And it says, and it's claiming that the Catholic Church was used to distinguish it from other groups that call themselves the church. So now let's get it clear now. This letter was written in 110 AD. Now they said that Catholic Church was first, Catholic was first used in the 2nd century. However, the letter that the word Catholic Church was in was written in 110 AD. Now we know that the AD means after the death of Jesus Christ, because they use BC. That means before Christ. That was even before he was born. That's how they got the time thing set up. So when you say AD, 110 AD, it was in this letter written about 110 AD by Saint Ignatius of Antioch. So this man, Saint Ignatius, he was from Antioch, and he wrote a letter. And he wrote a letter to the Smyrnaeans in the catechetical lectures of St. Cyril of Jerusalem. Now, and it says that the Catholic Church was used to distinguish it from other groups that also called themselves the church. So there were other groups that called themselves the church. So you admitting that there were other groups that were people calling themselves the church. And we have to remember that in that region, in that Middle Eastern region, in what they call Israel, Jordan, Syria, in that Middle Eastern area, this is what Jesus Christ in Israel was crucified in Israel, in Jerusalem, and the church was established. The church was established in Israel, because that's where Jesus Christ was at, in Israel. So there were other groups that called themselves the church around 110 AD. So we got to get our time. So we got to make sure we get our time right. So according to the historical record, around 110 AD, somebody wrote, what's his name? St. Ignatius of Antioch wrote a letter to the Smyrnaeans in the catechetical lectures of St. Cyril of Jerusalem. And he said Catholic Church. Then now the Catholic Church was first used in the 2nd century. Now that's the 2nd century. But the first known use of the phrase the Catholic Church occurred in. That's when it occurred in the letter. But the Catholic was first used to describe the church in the early 2nd century. So they got organized by that time. They got organized, became the Catholic Church by the time the 2nd century came around. But what they saying is that St. Ignatius of Antioch wrote a letter to the Smyrnaeans. They had gotten really organized. And he said in the catechetical lectures of St. Cyril of Jerusalem, the name Catholic Church was used to distinguish it from other groups. Make this clear now. He claiming that he trying to distinguish the Catholic Church from other groups that call themselves the church. It don't mean that St. Ignatius was right and that you're going to just separate from them other groups calling themselves the church. See, when you say you want to distinguish yourself from somebody, make sure you understand that when you say you want to distinguish yourself from other groups that call themselves the church, what is it that you know about those groups? What you trying to say, that they were lying? Well, what if we find out some information that those groups saying the same thing about the Catholic Church? That you lying. Because that's what I'm saying. That you lying. You lying. Because you trying to separate yourself and trying to distinguish yourself. And that's very suspicious. That's very suspicious. Should be suspicious of your activities, because it sounds like somewhere around that time period, the disciples. See, this is what we got to get understood. When you read the Bible, Jesus Christ, his followers, the disciples, and Jesus Christ established the church. So how is it that you're going to distinguish yourself from other groups? That ain't what Jesus Christ taught. See, that's another point that need to be brought up. Jesus Christ didn't establish no separate churches. Jesus Christ established the church. And all that arguing and all that, there wasn't nothing for you to argue about. because Jesus Christ had already established the church doctrine. He already told you about the communion on the first day of the week, about the bread represent his body and the wine represent his blood. Jesus Christ had already told you that, first of all, I'm Jesus Christ. I'm the Son of God. That's the doctrine. See, Jesus Christ said, I'm the Messiah. I'm the Son of Man. I'm the one you're looking for. I'm establishing the church. So in the church doctrine, that's one of the most important doctrines it is, that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, that he is the Messiah that was prophesied to come back, that prophesied to come. Now the Jews, they still waiting. They claim they still waiting on the Messiah, that Jesus Christ was not the Messiah. So on that point, that's the reason why the Jews separate, they still practice the way they practice. And Jesus Christ came, and when Jesus Christ came, he established the church, and he claimed that I'm the Messiah. I'm the Messiah. I'm the one that's prophesied in the Old Testament. I'm the one that you're looking for. So when it comes to the church, Jesus Christ established the church. Now he was crucified, then resurrected. So when you say Catholic Church, that don't mean that you're right just because St. Ignatius of Antioch wrote a letter in 110 AD, and in that letter he said the phrase Catholic Church. He said Catholic Church to distinguish the Catholic Church from other groups that were calling themselves the church. Now, we don't know historical, here on Wikipedia, we don't have the information to say who these other groups were that was calling themselves the church. But what we want to make a point about is this: Jesus Christ, the Son of God, he established the church. The church was already established. So writing a letter and trying to distinguish yourself, by calling yourself the Catholic Church, Jesus Christ never said that, because he had already established the church. If he wanted to name the church the Catholic Church, he had plenty of time to name the church the Catholic Church, but he didn't. He said, upon this rock I will build my church. My church. Simple as that. Then over there in Matthew chapter 18, again, Jesus Christ said, if you have some type of issue, come on, take it to the church. Take it to the church. That's what he said. They read right. Now let's say this also about the Protestant Reformation. The Protestant Reformation was to protest the Catholic Church and to reform the Catholic Church. So all the major churches that we were reading about, and major branches, minor branches, you still affiliated with the Catholic Church, because, like I said, you're trying to protest the Catholic Church. You're trying to reform the Catholic Church. So you still affiliated with the Catholic Church. And all them churches, Anabaptist, Adventism, Anabaptism, and all that, Methodism and Pentecostal, all the major branches, minor branches, interdenominational movements and related movements, all that, you still affiliate with the Catholic Church. The American Restoration Movement, there was no need for no American Restoration Movement. You're lying. That's what you were doing. The Stone Campbell movement and all that, when it get down to it, you're lying. See, it's something that's been done about the disciples. That's how you know you're lying. There was no such thing. There was no need for no American Restoration Movement. What you need to do is stop lying. You didn't have to go out there in the woods on the American frontier and establish no great awakening. What you need to do is stop lying. Jesus Christ had already established the church. There's no such thing as no restoration movement. You're not trying to restore anything. You doing the same thing. You trying to set up some kind of separate type of stuff. See, what you people really doing is trying to get into some kind of fight. I don't want to use the word gang because I already know what the word gang means. But you're trying to get into some type of altercation with each other. You still trying to do the same dumb stuff. That's what that Protestant Reformation really was. You see how they war. You see how they were fighting all the wars and arguing. Then you had John Calvin over there in what was the three places? You had Martin Luther. He was over in Wittenberg. Then you have Zwingli. He went to Zurich. Then you had John Calvin over there in Geneva. And they all talking about they Protestants. But the person who started the Protestant movement was Martin Luther with the 95 Theses. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like you people starting up some type of criminal organizations, and all you do is argue with each other and being against the Catholic Church. And then the Catholic Church, they did the same thing with that letter. The Catholic Church trying to argue with these other groups calling themselves the church, some type of criminal organizations. Because that's what you are. That's what it really was. It was a bunch of criminals going around. And see, it's a lot of things that don't come out. But sometimes, you have to allude to certain things, and you have to stop people talking about how certain people were going around, and certain groups of people were going around. Because let's just say that start distinguishing groups of people. Now you have people that are French, German, what they call this, the Indo-Europeans, the European groups, and the Celtics, and the Latins, and the Slavics, and I can't name all the Germans, and the English, that's German, the Celtics, and the Greeks, the Armenians, even the Iranians, and that's a group. That's considered to be a group. And then you have you have people like the Afro-Asiatics. People that are considered to be the Afro-Asiatics. But then you have some more groups. Because see, when you look in the Middle East and when you look at the history, this is something that had to be understood. When you talk about the Afro-Asiatic, the Semites, and the people that are considered to be a Semitic, like the Eritreans, the Ethiopians, the Arabs, the Hebrews, what's the one on the island? What's that island? Maltese, Malta, the island Malta, the Maltese. And them the Semites, they Afro-Asiatic, but then there's some more Afro-Asiatic. The Somalians, but they not Semite. The Egyptians, they Afro-Asiatic, but they not a Semite. The Berber, they Afro-Asiatic. And then you have your what's the over there in Niger, the Hase, Chadic group, they are Afro-Asiatic. But let's make this understood. But even on that, based on way the people look, way people look at how tall you are, how short you are, it's just like you had Nilo-Saharan people, and then you had the Niger-Congo people, and then you have the Austronesian people, and then but then you have other groups of people. You have people that you have your Turkic people. You have your Uralic people. So that's an important thing about history too. So when we talk about the Bible, everybody's not no Afro-Asiatic. Everybody's not no European. So when we start talking about groups of people, see, that's an important point to make. See, it's things that's been done that were wrong, and we're not gonna leave it out. We gonna continue. We know that something has been done in history. Something has been done. It's wrong. There's some people that were going around doing something wrong, just like slavery, just like the atrocity that were committed against the Native Americans. It's some stuff in history that's been done wrong. And to be honest with you, the people who did all that, them the same people that we talking about. See, there's some people that's walking around. They not European. They're not Afro-Asiatic. There's some people that were going around, and they still trying to go around. That did some stuff that's wrong, and even today they be doing some stuff that's wrong. Now, what time is it? 5:30. Now we're gonna like I say, when it comes to American Restoration Movement, it wasn't no need for no American Restoration Movement, because what it's based on is based on lies. It's based on lies. There's no such thing as no Church of Christ. There's no such thing. Jesus Christ established the church. We just read in Matthew chapter 18, verses 13 through 19, and also in Matthew chapter I got on my notes right. Okay, Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19, and Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. Jesus Christ established the church. So when it comes to an American Restoration Movement, there wasn't no need for no American Restoration Movement. Now you can make all the claims you want because of the Protestant Reformation or because of what the Catholic Church does. There's no excuse. See, Jesus Christ established the church. And when he established the church, he had all these disciples. He had all these disciples. And from all those disciples, he chose 12 of his disciples to be his apostles. One of them, Judas, fell by transgression. So he went and killed himself. And after that, the apostle, we're going to read, we're going down. We're going to go down to the book of Acts, chapter 1. But we continue, to talk, and conversate and discuss the issues that are involved. We know something been done wrong, and we gonna continue to say that something been done wrong. There's something wrong. But see, when you say American Restoration Movement, that lets me know that something is wrong. That let me know that's an indication right there. Because I read my Bible and I know for a fact Jesus Christ established the church. There's no such thing, no Church of Christ. There's no such thing. There's no such thing, no unaffiliated churches and Church of Christ congregation, and there's no such thing, no disciples of Christ. You ain't gonna make up nothing. Jesus Christ established the church. I know something been done wrong. That let me know it's something wrong. When I hear about the Protestant Reformation, when you say Protestant Reformation, you let me know right there. I know something wrong. Something wrong. You trying to reform the Catholic Church. You protesting the Catholic Church. I know something wrong. When I read my Bible, I know something wrong. Jesus Christ ain't never established no Catholic Church. I know something wrong. When you wrote that letter, that's a man-made religious organization. That's a man-made religious organization. That's what that is. When you say Roman Catholic, when you say Catholic Church in a letter that a man wrote, and you gonna sit up here and try to negate the teachings that Jesus Christ. Come on, man. That's a man-made religious organization. There was no need for anybody to say Catholic Church. No need. There was no need. That lets me know something wrong. Something wrong. It's wrong. I know for a fact. I know something wrong. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. The followers of Jesus Christ, the disciples. I know something wrong. You don't even hear these people saying anything about the disciples. I know something wrong. I know something wrong. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know something wrong. Something wrong. Let me tell you. Let me give you a hint. Let me give you a hint about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. When Judas betrayed Jesus Christ, and let me give you a hint. Let me give you a hint. Let's go to the Bible. You know, in the Old Testament, when it talks about Adam and Eve, and then it talks about how, you know, they had children and who they got married to, and you know, they start having children and so on and so forth. And then they give you the lineage, and then they tell you so and so begat so and so, and so and so begat so and so, and on and on and on. Then you get all the way to Jesus, and then it tells you about his lineage. See, that's a hint. That's a hint to everybody about who everybody is and who everybody was, and all these people walking around, you know, who they were. That's a hint that something is wrong. Something is wrong and something being done that's wrong. That's a hint. See? And so when you get to Jesus Christ, and when he was betrayed by Judas, see, there's some people walking around. Judas didn't just betray Jesus, just to betray Jesus. It's something that Judas was doing. And it wasn't just him. See, when you investigate Judas' background and some of the others, it's just like some of his disciples. Some walked away. See, we don't really know who those people were. When Jesus Christ, remember, as a matter of fact, it was, let me refer to my notes here. Now, when we talk about Jesus Christ and his disciples, and you can go to Matthew chapter 10, verses 1 through 42. You go to Mark chapter 3, verses 13 through 35. You go to Luke chapter 6, verses 13 through 49. And you can also go to John chapter 6, verses 15 through 59 through 71. And that was one of the places where it tells about some of those disciples and those that walked away. Was in John chapter 6, verses 59 through 71. Now, we don't really know the identity of all, the identity of the people that were trying to claim they won't be a disciple, and then walked away. And when Jesus Christ chose his disciples, you know, we don't really just get a whole lot of information about their background, you know, their lineage. Like we get information about Jesus Christ, about who his mother was, who his father was, and, you know, information about who their mother and father was, and so on and so forth. And you know who these people were, and it's important. It's important because something wrong has been done, and something wrong is being done, and it goes back to history, and a lot of it got to do with a lot of groups of people who've been living on this earth, and it's some wrong that has been done. It's some wrong that's being done. And that's one of the things, that's one of the indicators that we have to point out, is that Jesus Christ chose 12 disciples. And when you get an understanding of what the things that's been done that's wrong, when you see Judas betray Jesus, we really don't know what group he came from. You understand? Because when you betray Jesus Christ, the Son of God, it's just like those disciples. Jesus Christ was teaching, and then you say you want to be a disciple, then they walked away, and then you don't hear from them anymore. See, that's something that's sinister. You understand? That's something that's diabolical. See, later on, the same individuals came back, and when the disciples were, after the crucifixion, and after Jesus Christ chose his 12 disciples, and after Judas was hung himself, and they chose. But we're gonna read it in Acts chapter 1. See, the same people were walking around. Matter of fact, when Stephen was stoned. You remember when Stephen was stoned to death? And there were some people who laid their coats down because Stephen had been stoned to death. And that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, you understand, he consented to the martyring of Stephen. That was wrong. That was wrong what he done. But see, that ain't the only wrong. And see, people walking around doing wrong, just like that, trying to kill people and trying to do stuff that's wrong. And so, like I say, when it comes to that letter, that Catholic letter, that was written in 110 AD by Saint Ignatius of Antioch. Now, he was from Antioch. Now, we know that when we read about him, we know there was some stuff that happened in Antioch about that Christian stuff. And so here it is. It's a letter being written by a person from Antioch. See? Called the Catholic Church. And the letter, the catechetical lectures of Saint Cyril of Jerusalem. We know something been done wrong. We know something wrong. You should know. When you read your Bible, you should know. First of all, there was no need for you to write no letter saying Catholic Church. You should automatically know that. See, this is one of the points we've been bringing up about the way the disciples being taught. See, you should know automatically. There's no need for you to write no letter. Well, no need for you to write no letter. Jesus Christ established a church. So how you gonna turn around and write a letter and then call the church, the Catholic Church, to distinguish it from other groups calling themselves the church? What you doing that for? Why are you writing a letter that's wrong? It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. There's no need for you to write no letter. The Protestant Reformation is not right. You protesting the Catholic Church, and then what you protesting the Catholic Church about is you trying to reform the church. You're not trying to get rid of the church because it's wrong. Only thing you doing is trying to polish it up. You trying to polish up the church, the Catholic Church. That's all you were trying to do. You were trying to reform the Catholic Church. That's all you were trying to do. There wasn't no need for no American Restoration movement because the church had already been established. But what you had done was suppress what Jesus Christ had done and just gonna go off on your own. Only thing you do is taking words out of the Bible. That's all you've been doing, just taking words out of the Bible and then calling yourself, trying to claiming that you follow it. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're lying. All of you lying. The Catholic Church is a lie. The Protestant Reformation is a lie. The American Restoration movement is a lie. You're lying. Now, let's go over it. I'm going to use my tablet. Use my tablet. We're going to go to this W.D. Farr Muhammad, then we're going to come back to the Bible. Now let's go to, I'm using my tablet. Let's go to Wikipedia, and we're going to, all this group stuff, talking about the Moorish Zion Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, and all these various black Hebrew Israelites, and the Rastafarians, and the Black Panther movement, and all these different, what they call the NAACP, the Urban League, the Congress of Racial Equality, and all kinds of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the American Muslim Society. Let's go to Wikipedia, and we're gonna look up this W.D. Farr Muhammad. Now, they claim that this W.D. Farr Muhammad, saying he was born in February 26, 1877. They don't even know. They're saying it's unknown. And was a co-founder of the Nation of Islam. They're saying he arrived at Detroit in 1930 with an obscure background and several aliases. so, like I said, they don't even have no information. But then you got this Nation of Islam and Moorsign Temple and all these groups. And don't forget, don't leave out the NAACP and Urban League for this reason. See, it's a lot of people that was walking around. There was a lot of people walking around. Just like when the Moorsign Temple started, there was a lot of people walking around. And a lot of people used to listen to the things that people were teaching, like the Black Hebrew Israelites. A lot of people were listening, just like members of the NAACP and Urban League. A lot of people used to listen to these people teaching when Marcus Garvey, Garveyism, Pan-Africanism. It was a lot of people that were listening to all these different people talking and trying to teach. Because the majority of African Americans during that period of time, the early 1900s, coming out of the Civil War, were illiterate, uneducated, miseducated, and and so when it comes to all these different groups, and and people were going from these churches. Sometimes people be part of a church, then they'll leave the church. People also moving around. People were leaving the south, moving up north. People were leaving the north, moving down south. People were leaving the east, from the east coast, going, some people living in the southeast, they'll go up to the northeast. People from the northeast would go to the midwest. Some people would leave east and go out west. People were and then people were still trying to listen to all these different people talking and trying to teach. And so, so it's important to get as much information as you possibly can. Because there were people, moving around. Then you had wars being fought. You had a lot of men during the First World War, were drafted. The African American community had all these men being drafted and went to war, came back from the war. Wherever they used to live, then they moved from there, went somewhere else. And then you had all this stuff about socialism and communism being taught during that period of time, during the early 1900s, the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then you had Pan-Africanism. Then you had all this stuff about the Roman Catholic Church and the Protestant Reformation, the American Restoration Movement. See, it's important. Get all the information you can. Get all the information you can. You got people walking around right now today talking about they support the Moorsign Temple, talking about they are 5% nation. And you got all these people in the Nation of Islam walking out there on the street selling newspapers, and they can't tell you nothing about Master Farah Muhammad. And all the other groups can't either. The NAACP can't tell you nothing about Master Farah Muhammad. The Urban League can't tell you nothing about this Master Farah Muhammad. The Universal Negro Improvement Association, they can't tell you nothing. The Black Hebrew Israelites, they can't tell you nothing about this Master Farah Muhammad. They can't tell you nothing about Black Hebrew Israelites. It's just African Americans just going around in gangs. That's all it is. The sorority and the fraternity going around lying, trying to put everybody, trying to influence everybody to support the criminal street gangs, the criminal street organization. They need to be in jail. They need to use the RICO Act and put all you sorority and fraternity people in a penitentiary. But like I said, get all the information that you can on these groups. Get all the information you can. Go to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, got a file on all these groups and people. Other nations around the world have information. Go to other nations around the world and ask a question. Do you have information about this W. Muhammad? Do you have information about the Rastafari? Do you have information about the NAACP Urban League, the Congress of Races? Do you have information about the various black Hebrew Israelites? Ask a question. Do you have information about the 5% nation? Do you have information about the Nation of Islam? Do you have information about the Moorish Science Temple, the American Muslim Society? Ask a question. Don't just sit there and listen to people just tell you anything. Ask. Try to get as much information as you can. Don't just let people take advantage of you, and don't let anybody just tell you anything. Try to ask people in the government around the world about these groups. Now let me see what time it is. Now let's go to the book of Acts. We're going to read the book of Acts chapter 1. The former treason. Now we're in the book of Acts chapter 1, starting at verse 1. The former treason have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Jesus both began to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up. After that he through the Holy Ghost had given commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen, to whom also he shewed himself alive, after this passed by many infallible proof, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of God. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, Ye have heard of me. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Holy Ghost not many days hence. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the season which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea, and in Samaria, and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And when they had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a 7 days journey. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room, whereby both Peter and James and John and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women, and Mary the mother of Jesus with his brethren. And in those days Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples, and said, the number names together were about 120. Men and brethren, the scripture must needs have been fulfilled, which the Holy Ghost by the mouth of David spake before concerning Judas, which was guided him and took Jesus. For he was numbered with us and had obtained part of this ministry. Now this man, personally filled with the reward of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst of all his bowels gushed out, and was known unto all the dwellers at Jerusalem, insomuch as their feelings called in their proper tongue a settlement, that is to say, the field of blood, for it is written in the book of Psalms, let his habitation be desolate, and let no man dwell therein, and his bishopric let another take. Wherefore these men which have company with us all the time, that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John until that same day that he was taken up from us, was one being ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection. And they appointed two, Joseph, called Barsabbas, who was surnamed Justus, and Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou Lord, which knoweth the hearts of all men, shew whether these two thou hast chosen, that he may take part of this ministry and apostleship, from which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles. Now, we know that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, he claimed that he was an apostle. We know he lied. He lied. You don't call yourself an apostle. You don't call yourself no apostle. You don't give yourself titles, and you don't give yourself no position. Jesus chose his apostles. They didn't choose themselves. Jesus chose his apostles. They didn't choose themselves. And when it comes to Judas falling falling from transgression, they chose these two men to replace Judas. And when they chose these two men, now these two men, it says in Acts chapter 1, that from the beginning of the baptism of John to that same day that he was taken up from us, was one be ordained. It said that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John until that same day that he was taken up from us. Must be one ordained to be a witness of his resurrection. These two men been with Jesus a long time. These two men, they've been with Jesus a long time. They spent a lot of time with Jesus Christ. These two men, Justus was his name, Joseph, called Barsabbas, surnamed Justus, and Matthias. These two men were chosen by the apostles. And the reason why these two men were chosen, because they went from the beginning. Beginning from the baptism of John. See, that was when Jesus Christ early started his ministry, early. You understand? When Jesus Christ was baptized from the baptism of John. That's a long time to be with Jesus. And to be with the apostles. See? That's a long time to be with Jesus and to be with the other apostles. And all the way to the time of the resurrection. Taken up from us, must one be witness of his resurrection. So these two men were chosen for that reason. And then they prayed to God. And the lot fell upon Matthias. So Matthias took the place of Judas. So it was 12 apostles. It was 12 apostles. 12 apostles. Now that it's being 12, now that it's 12 apostles, what about Justus? He didn't choose himself, first of all. He didn't give himself titles. What God said, he accepted. Now we don't know, it's a possibility he became an elder of the church, considered to be an elder of the church. It in the scripture don't say it, but we speculate that it's a possibility he became an elder of the church in Jerusalem. But we know one thing, he didn't go around telling other people that he was an apostle or that he had some type of position, over other people, some type of influence over the other members of the church. He didn't do that. So that's the same thing for myself as well as others, including what's his name, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul. You don't give yourself no title. You don't go around telling people that you an apostle. That's a lie. And you don't listen to a liar. You don't listen to Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul. You don't listen to him. Period. All them epistles he wrote, throw them away. They all lies. Now, we know that there are 3 places in the Bible that talks about being a Christian. The first place is Acts chapter 11. Verse 26. We know that the second place where it talks about, and let's don't forget. Let's don't forget. It's wrong. It's an insult. I know we all been taught, we all been taught that way, myself included. We were all taught to call ourselves Christians. We know, we all been taught. But we had to make a correction. We had to tell the truth. Over there in Antioch was not the place to be saying Christian. Call the disciples no Christian. Jesus had ample time to teach all his followers. What do you call your followers? The disciples. If there was any change that was going to be made, the apostles and the elders were in Jerusalem. They would have taught all the followers of Jesus. You don't be over there in Antioch and call the disciples Christian, and you don't even know who the person or persons were that said it. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's an insult. That's what it is. It's an insult that somebody will call you, somebody will call the disciples an insult. It's an offense. That's what it is. It's a personal person. Some kind of slur. Christian. And they not being nice about it. They being mean. They saying something derogatory. Something that's offensive. It's an insult. Now the second place in the Bible that where you find the word Christian is in Acts chapter 26, verse 28. King Agrippa said he was almost persuaded to be a Christian. We know that's a lie. Look who it is that's around. Saul from Tarsus. We know that's a lie. That's a lie. The third place in the Bible where you find the word Christian. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian. See, that's the reason why the Apostle Peter had to teach us all. He knew there were people going around lying. That's the reason why he said, yet if any man suffer as a Christian. See, when you say something in Antioch, you were directing something at the Apostle Peter and the other apostles and the elders. When you direct something at the disciples in Antioch, you directing something at all the disciples, including the apostles and the elders. But you see it in Antioch. You didn't see it in Jerusalem where the apostles and the elders were. See, it's wrong. Now, the start of the end of all that Christian stuff is Acts chapter 15, verse number 2. The end of all that Christian stuff. Acts chapter 15, verse 22. Now, we know Saul lied about being converted. And I intentionally try to point out to people so you won't have to come and keep looking around and trying to search it to make it easier for everybody. First of all, you can go to Acts chapter 9 where it teaches you, where it says in Acts chapter 9, Paul was converted. He said Paul was converted. Acts chapter 9. Being specific, the lie that he told, when you turn to Acts chapter 9, read verse number 7. Then when you'll understand. It says in verse number, like I said, Acts chapter 9, it says Saul converted. It says Saul converted. Now read verse number 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. Turn to Acts chapter 22. Read verse number 9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but heard not the voice of him that spake to me. He lied. He lied. He lied. Turn to Acts chapter 26. And read verses 13, 14, 15. Now time won't permit, but I can read verses 13, 14, and 15. Again, Saul lied. He lied. He lied. You don't listen to the liar. He lied. In his title, Paul recounts his conversion in Acts chapter 26. In Acts chapter 22, it's titled, Paul tells of his conversion. Now he Paul. See, now he Paul. Let me see. And also, in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15, 16, 17, 18, the Apostle Peter exposes Saul for lying in those epistles that he wrote. He exposes Saul for lying. Now we continue to talk about African traditional religion. Now we know African traditional religion is being taught in sub-Saharan African institutions, colleges, and universities. Now, one of the books we're going to continue to read and refer to. Now, you can earn a college degree studying African traditional religion. You can earn a bachelor's degree, PhD, studying African traditional religion. Now, one of the books we're going to refer to, titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omasay, related with Dr. P. Adam on the paper. Another book we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled African Traditional Religion, definition written by Dr. Eva Loja Hadowu. Another book we're going to read and refer to is titled African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. B. Another book we're going to read referring to the title Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Now, let me give you an example of some schools that teach African traditional religion. Now, Dr. Joseph Omosen Valelu, Ph.D., Abadan, Senior Lecturer, African Traditional Religion, Department of Religious Studies, University of Abadan, Nigeria. Dr. P. Adalumo Dupemu, Ph.D., Abadan, Department of Religious Studies, University of Ilorin, Nigeria. Dr. E. Beloja Adobo, Professor of Religious Studies, University of Abadan, Nigeria. Now, Dr. John S.M.B., he was born in Kenya, and he studied at Makerere University College in Uganda. Now, this is the International Bill of Human Rights, was the name given to the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 217, and two international treaties established by the United Nations. It consists of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights 1966, with its two optional protocols, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights 1966. Now, this is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It's an international treaty adopted in 1979 by the United Nations General Assembly, described as an International Bill of Rights for Women. It was instituted on 3rd September 1981 and has been ratified by 189 states. The Declaration of the Rights of the Child, sometimes known as the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of the Child, is an international document promoting child rights, drafted by England Jeff and adopted by the League of Nations in 1924 and adopted in an extended form by the United Nations in 1959. This day has been adopted as the Universal Children's Day. The United Nations, this is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's a human rights treaty which sets out the civil, political, economic, social, health, and cultural rights of children. The convention defines a child as any human being under the age of 18, unless the age of majority is attained earlier under national legislation. This is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. This is the International Federation for Human Rights, 1922. It's founded by some 20 national organizations on the initiative of French and German member organizations. It's the first international human rights organization. Its motto is Peace for Human Rights. This is the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. And this is Fauna and Flora International, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. And this is the world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature and the World Wildlife Fund. Now, like I said, I'm gonna continue to speak out. I'm gonna continue to complain about people saying they are gang plus stir, mob plus stir, saying you're a boss, you're a goon, you're a thug, you're a Mac, you're a player, you're a crook, you're a hoodlum, you're a pimp, you're a whore, and it's all street slang. You know, people all over the earth use communication. People all over the earth use language. So it's all it is a street slang, some kind of street slang. You know, just like Christian, some kind of street slang. You know, some kind of slur. But I'm gonna continue to speak out. I'm gonna continue to complain. I'm gonna stand up for my human rights. So, sorority, fraternity, it's a guarantee. I'm going to stand up for my human rights. It will be anti-gang demonstration, anti-gang protest. Now, we've been talking about how these people in the United States of America want a quick reminder. The East Coast being used as a gang base. You got people from the East Coast trying to move to Chicago, trying to move to Los Angeles, California, trying to move to Memphis, Tennessee, trying to move, you know, they're in the U.S. military, the Red Cross, Red Crescent Society, the Peace Corps, the Foreign Service, business, schools, you know, like what they call them, exchange students, sports, entertainment. You know, it's all kind of tourism. People leave the United States, you know, various ways and for various reasons. But this gang stuff, all that criminal organization, you know, celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainers, leaving the United States of America, going to other countries. Now, Now, we know all nations on the earth, they make laws to make each and every one of us safe from crime. Now, the United States government enacted the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970 and Title IX of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, the RICO Act, is anti-gang. Now, the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1970, the Controlled Substance Act, the Psychotropic Substance Act, the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute, Kingpins Act, is all anti-gang. The Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act of 1974 established the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention and other related legislation. The Comprehensive Anti-Gang List, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention and Comprehensive Gang Model, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Bureau of Justice and Office of Justice Program, and the United States Department of Justice. The Office of Justice Program, Bureau of Justice Assistant, United States Department of Justice, Comprehensive Anti-Gang List, the Project Safe Neighborhood. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Community Oriented Policing Service, Comprehensive Anti-Gang List. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, the United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, the United States Department of State, Institute for Intergovernmental Affairs, Gang Resistance Education Training and Break Program. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, October 2009, National Youth Gang Center, which have been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention since 1995, merged with the National Gang Center, which have been funded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance since 2003. The National Gang Center compilation of state laws against gangs. The Gang Prevention Overview of Research Program of Mr. James C. Howe. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, National Gang Center Bulletin. Title of that bulletin: History of Street Gangs in the United States. Read the books in the bulletin. And also you can go to Wikipedia. You can find the same information titled Gangs in the United States. The United States Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney, Man, 1457, Criminal Street Gang Statute 18, United States Code 5201. The United States Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, National Gang Intelligence Center. The United States Department of Justice, Organized Crime and Gang Section, and other federal, state, and local agencies. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, Anti-Gang Strategies, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, United States Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, changing course, preventing gang membership, and also striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. The United States Department of Justice, United States Department of Education, United States Department of Health and Human Services, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, the United States Department of Labor, and the White House Office of the National Drug Control by the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention. You can go to youth.gov. You can be informed by the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention, as well as the Comprehensive Anti-Gang List and the Comprehensive Gang Model. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, National Crime Prevention Council, keeping kids out of gangs, and anti-hazing. You can go to lawyers.com, be informed about anti-hazing. Now we know that when we talk about those human rights organizations that we just got to like Anti-Slavery International, Bird Life International, we know that there are organizations, other organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, environmental order. I heard about Greenpeace, uh, the Wildlife Society, organization. Do a background check on organizations, their credibility. People try to scam you for money, their activities are questionable, but they have questionable activities. So do a background check on organizations trying to solicit money from you, trying to get you to support them, trying to get you to join the organization. Their activities, very questionable. Now, now we're gonna go to the dictionary. And you know that when it comes to prefixes and suffixes and root words, Webster's Third New International Dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary, the prefixes and suffixes in the dictionary. Now, Now this is Webster's Third New International Dictionary, and the complete and total definition and meaning of the word gang, the act, manner, or means of going. This is mobile. This is mob. Now, this stupid sorority, this stupid fraternity, this sister. This is brother. This is the Oxford English Dictionary. The complete and total definition of the word gang. Action or mode of going, way, passage, a set of things or persons. This is mobile and mob. The stupid sorority, stupid fraternity. Now I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. Now, we know that there are a lot of things that's been done, and like we've been talking about social media, and we've been talking about the communication, like the television, radio, newspaper, magazines, and a lot of that be on social media too. We don't always get all the information on television, radio, newspaper, magazine. A lot of times we had to go online, and I know I don't have time right now, but sometimes I be on like Facebook, Twitter, and I get a lot of information like from Amnesty International, the Audubon Society, it was one of these organizations that's trying to do something about water, oceans, and climate. Oceania, I think that's the name, Oceania. Got a lot of information, and I know what it was. We was talking about what happened in Burma, Myanmar, and it had been reported that they had identified the generals in the army. They were the ones who were responsible for the refugee crisis in Myanmar. And then it's been reported by Human Rights Watch and other Amnesty International and other human rights organizations that one of the news reporter who reported it has been arrested by the Myanmar military, has been taken into custody, been arrested. So we should be hoping that this man and other reporters who are trying to expose human rights violations around the world get released from prison and from jails, we just hope for the best. You know, I know everybody been watching the World Cup, the FIFA, and it came down to two. It came down to France and Croatia. So I don't know who, everybody pulling for. I don't know who we all pulling for. Everybody. But it's been fun to watch. I've been enjoying. I've been watching the highlights. I ain't been able just to sit down and watch. Match play. I've been able, to catch the highlights. But I enjoy it, so we just gonna have to see who gonna win, either France or Croatia. But I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county sheriff, it's in the state of Tennessee, and wish each and every one of you the best. And always put God first. Put God first. And you take care of yourself. I wish each and every one of you the very best. And also don't forget these words. Coercion. Coerce, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. And these are some of the websites you can go to. They make free logo design, anti-gang logo.